sparks fly in South Carolina as 2020 Democrats make their case to be the next president.
That Cuba made progress on education.
He literally thinks he can go over and bring a hot dish to the dictator next door, and he thinks everything's going to be fine.
And that's why Russia is helping you get elected.
Imagine spending the better part of 2020 with Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump.
Truth
You
is,
just named are the
Pete,
things we
that the
favor.
American-
Here's the deal. I'm not out of time. You spoke over time, and I'm going to talk. Here's the deal. Why am I stopping? No one else stops.
Because you're out of stuff to say.
So what does all this say about the state of the current field? Here to react is Fox Nation host Tomi Lahren. Hey, Tomi. What did you think?
Well, I tell you what it says about the state of the Democratic Party. It's pathetic. It's sad. I actually tweeted last night what that debate stage reminded me of was a nursing home cafeteria that ran out of Jell-O. Everyone was very upset, very angry, very old, and pushing a lot of very strange ideas. But then again, that is the bed that the Democrats made for themselves, and now they have to lie in it.
Well, the problem for the Democratic Party, though, Tomi, is the fact that they've got a Democratic socialist who is currently on the verge of becoming the nominee. And so everybody else there saw that great big target on Bernie Sanders' back and did the best they could. But, you know, I don't know that Bernie Sanders supporters really care about that. They still like the free stuff.
Well, of course they do, but you know, at the end of the day, now all these so-called moderates are going after Bernie and the establishment is upset, but they did this to themselves. They've been pushing radical ideas. They've been having people at the helm like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and the rest of them that have been radical for months on end, and now they end up with Bernie Sanders as their frontrunner, and now all of a sudden they're confused and they think they have to do something about it. They did this to themselves. They should have been paying attention. They shouldn't have been pushing radical notions because this is what they're left with.
So I was hearing about Governor Newsom, even addressing for the first time that California is in a bit of a crisis. Not only homeless, when it turns out the other big problem they have is people are leaving one of the most picturesque, great states in our country. Why are they leaving, and what did you discover?
Well, Brian, how long do you have? I could give you a book of reasons of why people are leaving California. It's funny, though, that although people are fleeing the state of California, the voter rolls are incredibly bolstered this year. So interesting how that works out, isn't it? But, you know, one of the main reasons people are leaving California is because it's unaffordable for most average Americans. We've got taxes and regulations up the wazoo, and the Democrats never met a tax and regulation they didn't like. And yes, Gavin Newsom is finally addressing the fact that we have a homeless crisis and other crises to deal with. But his solution is just to throw more money at the problem. If throwing more money at the problem worked, we wouldn't have this problem. So maybe the problem is the Democrats that we keep electing to lead this state. Now, there's an idea.
I know that PragerU has these wonderful mini docu-series or documentaries, and they featured you in one about California. Let's take a look.
California is for the very rich and the very poor. Everything is more expensive. You can't live here in California anymore as a middle-class citizen.
Many of them who were born and raised in this state are realizing that it's become unaffordable, and that's heartbreaking.
I'll tell you, Californians, when they move to Texas, they're shocked. Their standard of living goes up 40 to 50% overnight.
It's, you know, it simply is not the state so many people regard as the Golden West.
No, absolutely not. And if you talk to Californians, which I do every single day because I still live here, they'll tell you that most of the people you talk to, the reasonable, average people out there, they didn't vote for these policies and they didn't vote for these people. So they're wondering how we ended up with this. They're wondering how everything that goes through Sacramento seems like a horrible idea. And so we're wondering how we got here. Well, if you want to change the state, you want to return it to its former greatness, you're going to have to change who you voted for. So that's the education process that needs to begin. And maybe it has to get so bad before the pendulum swings.
How's it affecting housing market? Because I'm wondering if so many people are leaving, not as many people moving in. Are people trying to sell houses and they can't do it?
Well, the housing market, you know, our housing prices are still incredibly high, but for those that can't afford our housing prices, there's a lot of wonderful homeless encampments and tent cities for them to pick from. So Hotel California is certainly doing strong, even though the housing market is still high. Housing is still unaffordable, but plenty of tents for people to choose from.
Tomi Lahren, your series on Fox Nation, No Interruption, is still available. Go to foxnation.com and sign up now if you have not. And I believe this month, if you sign up, you get Martha McCallum's book. So that'll be signed and sent.
If you get a yearly subscription.
That's right. Thanks, Tomi.
Thank you, guys.